Australian Green spokesperson on climate change, energy and transport. Thanks, Christine.
Thanks very much, everyone, and congratulations to all of you for being here, for being in solidarity with people in every capital city in Australia, marching for the same thing, and that is climate action. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Climate action. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Climate action. When do we want it? Now. And we want it now because we have a global emergency. Climate change is not only real, but it is urgent. We have the United Nations Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, in Antarctica as I speak. And the reason he has gone to Antarctica in the lead up to the United Nations Framework Convention meeting in Bali in a few weeks is to highlight just how serious climate change is. And in a press release he issued overnight, this is what he had to say. I need a political answer. Climate change is an emergency. And for emergency situations, we need emergency action. That is very strong language from the Secretary General of the United Nations. He says he wants a political answer. Well, let's give him one at this election from Australia. Let's send a very, very strong signal to the United Nations that this country is tired of being a global laggard on climate change. The IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has told us we only have to 2015 at best. That is only a few more years for global emissions to peak and then to seriously be reduced. That means we have no more time for sceptics. We have no more time for a Prime Minister who thinks that managing the Australian economy is more important than addressing climate change. We have no more time. We have no more time as a community for an opposition that says we'll have an economic analysis and see what we can afford and then see what we'll do after that. We need climate action now in this election from all political parties, and we need serious action. We have to keep global temperatures to less than an additional 2 degrees. James Hansen from NASA has made it very clear that the last time we went beyond 2 degrees, we had huge melting of the ice sheets. And he's saying that if we don't constrain global temperature to less than 2 degrees, we will see the West Antarctic ice sheet go, Greenland start to melt, if not even worse. We're already seeing bits, large chunks breaking off glaciers. In that case, it would be 5 metre sea level rise in 100 years. That is a huge sea level rise. That is dislocation all over the planet. So we have bad news, a planetary emergency. But the good news is there are solutions. We are innovative. We've got the technology now. We have got the renewable energy capacity to make the difference, to say no to nuclear. We don't have to wait for nuclear. We don't want to wait for so-called clean coal. We've got renewables now. Australia should be the Saudi Arabia of solar. We have solar thermal. We have, at the moment, out in Queensland, a town saying it's going to go completely solar by 2010. We're seeing enormous breakthroughs in wave energy and of course wind is out there commercially viable now. With strong mandatory renewable energy targets, with feed-in laws, we can see absolutely tremendous strides forward in Australia on renewables. And the great thing about that is It will keep the jobs in Australia, and it will rebuild the manufacturing sector that has been hollowed out over the last 10 years, because not only have we had no action on climate change, we've lost our manufacturing sector. By dealing with oil depletion and climate change, we can rebuild Australian manufacturing, keep our best brains and best technologies here, and export the intellectual property that goes from being a global leader on renewables. The other thing we have to do, and other speakers will talk about this in more detail, but we have to stop deforesting the planet. We have to stop logging the planet. Not only in Tasmania, not only nationally, but in Indonesia and right around the world. And this meeting in Bali in December is going to seriously address avoided deforestation. But it's no use going to Bali saying Australia supports avoided deforestation if they continue to log our forests here in Australia, our fantastic carbon sinks. Our message has to be not only save the climate, but save the climate by saving our forests as well. What we hear from many people is individual action, and I support individual action. I think it is important in our lifestyles that we change, that we reduce our consumption, that we do reduce our energy through energy efficiency, renewable energy and so on. But as the UN Secretary General says, it's a planetary emergency. We need a political answer, and we need it now. It is not enough for politicians to say, you take action, you in the community, you want to lead on climate change, so go out there and do it. Politicians have to take a lead. They cannot hide any longer. Next weekend, the 17th of November, the IPCC is going to hand down its synthesis report. That is going to tell us just how serious things are. Next weekend, ring up every candidate standing for this election and ask them, will they commit to taking whatever action is necessary, whatever deep cuts are necessary to constrain global warming below an additional 2 degrees. That is as important as any individual action you can take, because the urgency is such. We need systemic change. We need that systemic change in Australia and across the planet. A lot has been said about climate change. The Prime Minister's got himself to the point of climate shift. He hasn't got to climate change yet. The opposition has discovered climate change as well. But the community discovered a long time ago. You only have to look at the extreme weather events around Australia to see the fires, the more intense drought. Go out onto the Murray-Darling and see the terrible state of things there. The rural community knows full well we are experiencing climate change. They're changing as well. This election, I think, across Australia, for the first time in many years, people are going to discover again the need for collective, collaborative, community action in the best interests of everybody rather than just their hip pocket. We need a political system that brings out the best in people, not the worst in people. And marching to save the climate will do that.